Video should start. Hey, thanks everyone for sticking around for a few minutes, whether you're a member at Crossroads or a regular attender or brand new and you just happen to come today and we're like, oh, that was kind of cool. I'll check it out. And you wanted to stick around. I'm glad you're here. In case you are kind of newer here to Crossroads and we haven't had the opportunity to meet, my name is Ryan, I'm the lead pastor. And the idea of a church life update is to get together about 3 times a year, invite members, regular attenders to just kind of hear how we're doing from a ministry standpoint, how the funding is going to the ministry, all that good stuff, to celebrate and also to look forward to what's coming and to give you an opportunity to ask any questions you might have. So how today's going to work is I'm going to share a little bit about kind of where we're going in terms of our teaching series and some things that are happening here in the near future. And then I'll answer any questions about that. And then I'm going to turn it over to Jimmy, and he's going to share with you an update on our finances and how things have been going over this last year and the quarter. And then we'll get you out of here to go and enjoy the rest of your day. All right? So that's kind of the plan. If it'd be all right with you, I'd like to just pray for us, if that would be okay. God, we're grateful for this church of people, and we're grateful for this building that we meet in, and we're grateful for the ministries that take place outside of here. And so today, God, as we celebrate, as we look to the future, as we look at the reality of our church in its ministries and its finances, we pray that you would give us a sense of hope and give us clarity, give us vision. In Jesus' name, amen. So just a reminder to everyone, right, really the vision and mission of our church in a real practical way is to help people follow the peacemaking path of Jesus in their everyday normal lives, right? We want to create peace on earth. That's really what it's about. And so that's what we're working towards, is creating a space that addresses the 5 unacceptables. And so that's kind of the core, the way we're thinking about it, kind of the heartbeat of Crossroads, is to really reimagine Christian faith for this century. What does it look like to create a space that Christianity, the following Jesus, can flourish? And it can evolve and be a space where, I love this phrase, that we want to be a church where you don't have to leave the church to grow in your faith, to question your faith, to evolve. I love that. I think that's a wonderful idea. And so a couple of things that are happening, maybe behind the scenes, that you would want to know about. First of all, we're kind of prepping something really fun for August. So the last Sunday in August, we're throwing a big party for the neighborhood. And so on that Sunday, we're going to gather at 10 o'clock like we normally do for an abbreviated service. And then we're going to send everybody out to volunteer. And we have water slide inflatables and food trucks and yard games. And we're throwing a big party for the neighborhood at end of summer bash. So you'll start to hear all about that. But the idea is for our church to volunteer. Now, if you've got kiddos, we want you to participate. And the way you make the day great is by inviting families to come out and enjoy the day and friends. If your kids are older, put them to work and volunteer. So we're going to need a whole bunch of volunteers that day. But that's the idea, is that we go out, serve. One of our core values is fun. And so we want to live that out on August 25th. And so I think it's the 25th. Is it the 27th? That's the last Sunday, yeah. For whatever reason in my mind, the last Sunday in August is always the 25th. I have no idea why that is. So August 25th. And then Labor Day weekend happens. And Labor Day weekend is the start of an experiment for us this year. Now, so we're going to run an experiment. And it might fail miserably. But here's what we're going to do. There's going to be 3 Sundays this year that we're going to do online only. And we're going to do that to give our building, to give our volunteers, to give everybody just a chance to breathe. And these are kind of, I think there's will be wonderful opportunities for us to experiment with this. And so Labor Day, Memorial Day, and then the Sunday after Christmas, December 31st. These are going to be online-only services, and so we will broadcast a very special service, and it'll broadcast all weekend long, so you can jump onto it whenever it's convenient. But we feel like it's a good opportunity for us to live into a principle of Sabbath rest, to understand that there is this opportunity to just let the land lie fallow, like to just let the building sit, let our volunteers take a break. Only having one service, it does produce a lot of strain and stress on volunteers every week. And so these felt like 3 good weekends to experiment with this opportunity. Now, while we're going to broadcast only, you're encouraged, if you wanted to get together with a couple of friends and have a brunch and watch the service together, however you might want to do that, or just watch it in your pajamas in bed that day. So we're going to live into that, and we hope that our church family, the people that love our church, will give generously, because a lot of times churches don't experiment with things like this because what happens is you don't have an offering. Can I just say that out loud? Okay, like that's the truth of it. It makes sense to do this in every form except that one little bit of information. All right, so you'll be hearing about ways to give and be a part of that. But that's the idea. So we're going to do that 3 times. We're calling it online only, O2 when you see it around, and that's just this idea of oxygen, of just breathing a little bit, giving everybody a chance to breathe, and then we'll launch a series the following week. So that kind of gets me into some of the teaching series that we're going to jump into. So immediately following our online only of Labor Day weekend, we're going to launch a series called The Gospel According to Ted Lasso. So I don't know. Yeah. So invite a friend out. I personally loved the show Ted Lasso. I've done these types of series before where I think the message and the meaning and the really true reality of the gospel is given to us in these beautiful stories. And so we're going to do a series called The Gospel According to Ted Lasso. And then on October 15th, we're going to launch a series called Flourish, Creating Purpose and Meaning in Your Everyday Normal Life, where we're going to just try to hone in on what does it mean to have purpose? How do we live our lives with a sense of purpose as peacemakers? And then November 12th, we're going to start our holiday series a little earlier this year. So we typically launch our holiday series kind of towards the end of November, but this year we're going to launch it on November 12th, and we're going to call it Hope for the Holidays, and we're going to explore the power of gratitude, peace, and new beginnings. And so that's going to be kind of November 12th all throughout the holiday season, and Christmas here with Crossroads is always a wonderful time, and so hope you'll get engaged with that. And then on January 7th, we're going to start a series called No Greater Love, and what I'd like to do during that series, that's Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. Martin Luther King Day is on that Monday, and I'd like to start a series called No Greater Love, where we look at some lessons from the life and ministry of Martin Luther King Jr. for that month. So we're going to do that as we just kind of explore what does it mean to live out no greater love, and what can we learn from his life and ministry that was certainly modeled after the nonviolent peacemaking path of Jesus. And then on February 11th, we hope to have Ricky back for Tailgate Sunday with us that day. And then on the 18th, we're going to launch our Lent season on February 18th. And February 18th, we're going to launch a Lent season, and the series is called Relentless. Randy, are you with me? Okay, Randy's giving me the nod. Okay, so it's called Relentless, and it's just looking at the life of Jesus in the Gospel of Mark. So we're going to really just kind of do a little bit of a study of Mark's understanding and how Mark crafts the story of Jesus. And then after Easter, on April 7th, we're going to launch a series tentatively called Unacceptable. I think I want to call it Unacceptable Living. I'm not sure. I want to find out a way to just really make people go, what? I don't know. But the idea is, how do we swim upstream in a downstream world? And the idea for that is really to explore our 5 unacceptables each week, a deep dive. What is it? How can we live in a way that is unacceptable to keep the unacceptable pressing forward, which oftentimes means swimming upstream in our culture and in the normalcy of civilization. And then on June 2nd, I can't believe I'm actually going to do this. I've avoided this for 25 years of ministry. So we're going to do a series on the book of Revelation. John Pierce is going to invite everybody in town to come. And so we're going to do a series on Revelation, and I'm tentatively calling it When the World Ended and Another Began. And so as you can probably imagine, you are not going to hear me teach the book of Revelation from a dispensationalist point of view. That's not the idea behind this book. We've misinterpreted it. We've been afraid of it. The book itself starts with, these are the things that are going to happen very soon. I mean, that's what it says right in the book. And so we're going to look at the book of Revelation for what it is, for what it isn't, and see if we can't find some wisdom for our everyday normal lives. But hopefully we can walk away from it not being afraid of it and not looking for it to produce fear in our lives and our world. So you might not see me for a few weeks throughout the year at some point in time, so I can try and do some studying for that one. But that's what we're going to do. That's next summer series. Maybe we'll call it like Summer Heat, the book of Revelation. I don't know, something like that. So that's kind of what we're doing from a teaching series, and that's kind of my bit for today. I'm excited for the future. I really am. I'm excited about our church. We're excited to be here. You know, I was thinking about this, Wendy and I, when we first got here, it'll be 4 years ago this fall. It's crazy. Wendy made this comment. She said, I just feel like we hit the jackpot. when we came here. And I think we still feel that way. I think it was a little different jackpot. And as difficult as certain things have been with COVID and with other things that have happened and where we are as a church, I do feel like we have the jackpot church of a space where we can all grow together, we can learn, we can say things you're not allowed to say in church, we can welcome people you're not allowed to welcome in church. And when I think about our church, and when I think about our values, and when I think about the things that we're for, and what we believe is going to happen over the next 10 years, I do feel like we've hit the jackpot. So I'm excited, and I'm grateful for everyone who is a part, for you all that are the church. Like, you are the church, and many of you that are watching this, you are the church making this possible. And so thank you very much, and I'm excited for this coming year. I'm excited for the fall and what's going to happen. And hopefully the lives change. I've had, this past month, I feel like I know over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've met with 4 new families that all started kind of coming right around, it was really kind of maybe the beginning of the year or around Easter time, fresh perspective, and just hearing powerful stories of just finding a space where they can call home as a church what they've looked for and getting connected. And so I'm excited. That's wonderful. So are there any questions for me about what I mentioned or anything else? No question. I do not get defensive about questions. If you have a question for me, I'd love to answer it as best I can. And otherwise, I'll turn it over to Jimmy. But any questions at all? And if you're not comfortable asking the question in front of everyone, please feel free to shoot me a text or an email, and I'll be happy to pass it on to somebody that can answer it. No. Any questions or anything? All right, so Jimmy's going to give us an update on other ministries, finances.
Yeah, the fun stuff.
Receive another offering for the day. They had no idea that was going to happen.
Well, I was going to do that now and then also offering. When I was done.
All right. Hey, didn't Jimmy do a great job today? Yeah, thank you.
My wife told me it was a great job because we were done at 11. Oh, this is on. Whoops. So I had the pleasure this last week to reach out to our staff, to our ministry directors and leaders, and ask them what's going on, what's happened, and what's coming up. And so we have some slides. Yeah, we have some slides. I wonder if I say it enough time. Oh, look at that. That's magic. So I'm going to walk through. I get to talk about numbers. I know that's everybody's favorite thing, but we're going to do a little bit of that as well. So, but first of all, before we get into the numbers, let's talk about some the different ministries that are going on here. So let's take a second and celebrate Partners in Hope. Because with Partners in Hope, they just had the second annual gala. I think most of you were probably there or involved in some way. There were 150 attendees to the Partners in Hope Gala. It raised over $37.5 million. Yeah, huge. Oh, yeah, 37,500, sorry. Whoops. Wishful thinking. So there were also pledge matching fund gifts of over $45,000. So a huge success for the second annual gala. This month, the Partners in Grant team is actually meeting, I believe Dennis said on Thursday, to decide how to distribute $50,000 in grants this month to our different Partners in Hope. So that's really exciting. Some of you may have been over at Edmondson this week for Fix It, Paint It. So that was July 18th through 21st. It was a collaborative effort between not only some of our volunteers here at Crossroads, but the Edmondson school staff, the Thompson ISD staff, our partnership team, our Hope building team, all got involved to do a fantastic job with getting that gymnasium painted over there at Edmondson. The Edmondson School Supply Drive wrapped up today, and it looks like we raised over 1,500. Look at me. Aren't you scared that I'm the accountant? A little, yeah. Somebody had to say something. But over $1,500 towards school supplies for that partner school at Edmondson. So things that are coming up from Partners in Hope, we have the Fix It Build It event that's coming in late September. Well, there'll be lots of projects that will get done during that time. And Spooky Palooza. You thought Oktoberfest was a fun name. It's now called Spooky Palooza, and that will happen again in October. As well as I hear that another trip to Puerto Rico is around the corner, and we'll start hearing information about getting signed up for that soon. Now I'm going to switch over and I want to talk about our Adventure Center. So when we say Adventure Center, I wonder what the code is for Ryan's phone, because he left it here. Should I lock him out of it? Yeah, lots of selfies. Yeah. Everybody wave at Ryan. Here we go. Yeah, so this is a professional church life update. For those of you that don't know, we refer to everything for birth to age 18 as our Adventure Center. And so the Adventure Center in 2022, 2023, am I supposed to advance the slides? Yeah, there we go. All right, so that includes our Early Adventures Daycare and Preschool, which reached its highest enrollment ever of 50 here recently, so that's really good news. For 9 months in the summer, we have Adventure Camp, 9 weeks. What is 9 months? Oh, never mind. Okay, sorry. I got to stop breathing into the mic. Adventure Camp happens for 9 weeks in the summer. They've served almost 60 kids this summer. I had a high of 43 different kids in just 1 week, averaging 37. There was a week between the daycare and preschool and our camps going on. There were more than 90 kids running around this campus. So just an exciting time, lots of joy and laughter that's been happening throughout the summer here. Lots of growth. The summer camps have grown exponentially from what we did last year with the first year of summer camps, and the Early Adventure Center continues to grow. We've talked to our state representative, and the preschool and daycare are overcoming struggles that everybody else in the industry is having in terms of daycare and preschools. We've seen an addition of more teachers this year. We've seen a reduction in the staff that we have for our Early Adventure Center. We've created a new structure. We have an executive director and then program directors, and it's really created some stability for these programs and given them the opportunity to grow and for all of the staff to feel really supported. So the state specialist, every time he comes around, just raves about the programs that we have for our Early Adventure Center and for our adventure camps. So some good news from a number standpoint. Let's see what number I say this time. But we've actually seen positive cash flow from the daycare and preschool this year of $43,500. So that's money. Yeah, that's exciting. That's $43,000 before we charge them any rent or admin fees or anything like that. But it does help increase the amount of funds that are available to ministry work here at Crossroads. So that's really exciting that we've seen that over the course of the first 2 months of the year. And we had a great, successful event for families in May. Out here, kids playing on the playground and food trucks and everything like that. And Ryan stole the thunder of the Adventure Center team and talked about August 27th, but our end of summer bash is coming, so that's going to be a big thing that the Early Adventure Center and the Adventure Center as a whole are really working towards to bring in the community and provide a fun space for them. So that's the Adventure Center. So there's some additional ministry highlights that I want to make. So talking to Darren, our creative arts director, he highlighted that end of summer bash is going to be exciting from a creative arts standpoint as well, because there's going to be some live music, right? And we all, yeah. So if I'd have known that would have got a clap, I would have sang today. So we talked about inflatables, food trucks, yard games, etc. But it's really about bringing the community together and to introduce Crossroads and specifically our Early Adventure Center. Those that have been around for the last 5 weeks, we've been telling campfire stories, which have had a video every week from one of our members. And that's really helping us to build a culture where the members are telling the stories and not just the pastors. So it's been an exciting time. The creative arts team is really excited about what those last 5 weeks have looked like. Apparently, we're increasing our TikTok visibility. Everybody here seen this on TikTok? Everybody? Yeah. I don't even think I have a TikTok account, unless my kids created it for me and didn't tell me, which is a possibility. But we're seeing a lot of growth through that avenue of social media. We're actually seeing more engagement on TikTok than we are on Facebook or Instagram. So kudos to our creative arts team for looking at that platform as an additional way to get the word out about Crossroads. And it is July, but Christmas with Crossroads Prep has already begun, and so there are some exciting things that are happening around that as well. So that's it from our creative arts team. Our music and tech teams, we've seen a growth in the number of tech team members that we've had. I believe you've heard that we're having band auditions this month, so this is great to see new volunteers in that area. We've also seen some of the volunteers in the music and tech departments taking on even bigger roles as far as what their role in tech is or their role in worship is. Lots of fun events for the volunteers that are coming up in music and tech. There's going to be a barbecue hangout in August. There's going to be another vision lunch for them. And then there's going to be a Christmas party as well. So some exciting things happening for Mickey and for his team of volunteers. Kia, our communications director, for those of you that don't know, wanted to make sure that everybody knows that the app launched this trimester. Have you guys heard that we have an app? Anybody? Have we heard that there's an app? In case you didn't know, we've launched the Crossroads app, which is the digital home for members and attenders. So the next great and wonderful thing is we are redesigning the website. We're redesigning the website to be, yeah, you can clap, it's okay. If you've been on our website, you'd be clapping right now. But looking to make it a vision and a mission-driven platform, to make it be the welcome mat for somebody new to Crossroads or somebody that's just checking us out. So we want the app to be the primary resource for you, but we want that website, that front-facing, that first time people check out Crossroads, for it to be a welcome mat and for it to really to talk about the vision and the mission of Crossroads. The Fresh Perspective series that we just came out of, we're looking at redoing those fresh perspective conversations on a regular basis, and so working on print resources and packaging that Fresh Perspective teaching series and conversation materials so that we can have conversations like we had during that teaching series on a Thursday night, but do it several times throughout the year. Dennis wanted to let us know about volunteer engagement, that in August we're going to have a volunteer rally. So for all of you that volunteer, there'll be a fun time to get together for a rally here coming up in August. I believe that's on the 20th. And, oh, Dennis is here. And also for a Find Your Fit that will be happening in August as well. And Cy, our facilities manager, wanted to let everybody know that we are going to be striping the parking lot soon. And that we are making progress on the lawn care, and that they're almost done fixing all of the sprinkler heads and things like that. So looking to make it a little better place to come on your Sundays or throughout the week. So that is the ministry highlights that our team gave me. Is there any questions that I can try to answer, or if I can't answer, that I can go get them from them and send them to you later or let you know? I know everybody's just waiting for the finance. It's like, oh, please talk about the numbers. No? Anybody? All right, well, let's talk about it. So let's talk about the elimination of debt. So one of the goals was to become debt-free in 2023, and Crossroads was able to sell unused land to Loveland Housing Authority for $5.8 million. As great and wonderful as that sale was for us, it also meant that you, as members of Crossroads, contributed $3 million in equity towards affordable housing here in Loveland. So, affordable housing is going to help us to make strides and movement towards reduction in poverty and illiteracy, those things that are 5 unacceptables here at Crossroads. Because of the sale of land, our cash on hand actually increased to $300,000, with $55,000 sitting in our Partners in Hope Fund. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of money. I should have said 300 million. Oh, okay. But knowing where Crossroads was setting as far as cash on hand at around 120 to 140,000 before the pandemic, to actually be where we're at with cash on hand right now is actually really good news. So we eliminated debt for Crossroads with the sale of the $5.3 million mortgage is gone. The short-term loan that was created from Daring Faith is gone. So I want to thank Carol Barrow for all of her work on getting that land sale done. So thank you, Carol. With that elimination of debt, the only liabilities that we currently have remaining, we do have deferred retirement for Ryan. So Ryan agreed to defer his retirement contributions for a while, and so that is still sitting as a liability. But the plan is to remove that liability as soon as we sell 3 water shares here, hopefully in 2023. Okay? We do have normal liabilities, as any company does, as far as accrued wages and accrued leave, like vacation time, etc. But the only remaining liability that's not one of those fluctuating liabilities is that deferred retirement for Ryan. Okay? So, exciting news. We sold the land. Yay. All right, so I'm gonna touch on some highlights for the numbers as far as revenue and expenses. So far our total revenue is $1.557 million. So just a little bit better than for the same 10-month period in 2021, 2022, about a 1% increase. The regular giving, so that's the general fund donations, right? That's the fund that our members truly support is the general fund, is $673,775, and that's down 23%. We were budgeted to be down. We were budgeted to be at $770,500. We were missing that budget by $9,700 a month. We were about 12.5% under budget as far as our general giving goes. The good news is we've seen some church growth during this first 10 months. We've seen 132 people that have marked new here on their Connect card. We've seen 98 new individuals and families that have given to the mission of Peace on Earth here at Crossroads. As far as registration goes, we've had registration income of $478,000. That's almost 8 times the amount of registration income that we had in 21-22. increase of 794%. Our budget was $531,000. We're missing budget by about $5,300 a month, or 10%. But the reason for that is the slower growth that we're having in the Early Adventure Center, which is what we are told by the state representative is actually we are growing at an incredible rate considering what the market is like, what the industry is like. So really great news as far as our registration. We also are a little bit lower than our budget for registrations because of some increased generosity as far as helping out with scholarships and things like that for summer camps. So, yeah. So that is the revenue conversation. Before I go to expenses, does anybody have any questions about revenue? Okay, so let's talk about expenses. So our total expenses so far during the first 10 months are $1.8 million. Our expense budget was 1.96, right? So we are under budget as far as expenses by 8.1%. Knowing that we've had lower donations as far as general giving goes, there's been controlled expenses, right? That's why we're 8% under as far as our expenses goes. Our net income, so when we take our revenue minus our expenses, our net income from operations is a loss of $246,000. We budgeted a loss of $199,000. That difference, that $47,000 difference, comes from some things that were unplanned. So in order for us to have camps this year, we had to invest in an HVA system in the student center. So that was a $32,000 expense. Also, to be able to sell the land, which we weren't budgeted to sell the land this fiscal year, there's some closing costs and title company costs and all of those fees and things like that that represented about $8,000 worth of expenses. And then there's about $8,000 that is going to help us to get ready to sell the water shares, which will provide more cash for the church. The thing to understand is that all of the expense categories for Crossroads are under budget, right? Compensation, building and grounds, insurance, purchases, services and support, meals, travel and entertainment, other expenses, all are currently under what we budgeted. The only exception is utilities. Utilities are over budget by about $5,400, and honestly, the reason for that is natural gas cost prices. And most of you probably at home saw your natural gas costs raise over the course of the last year, and so we didn't anticipate as high of an increase for natural gas. Now, the overall net income, so not just from operations, but the overall net income is a positive $4.3 million. And yes, I said million. Because of the gain from the sale of the land, we didn't budget that. With that, actual overall net income is I tried again, is $4.3 million. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about expenses? Gosh, I am doing such a good job. Oh, sorry. Yes, Melissa.
I remember last year when you were talking about the sale of the land, free up about $28,000 a month in, mortgage payments and the interest. How is that going to be distributed, and how is that factored into what we're going to be able to do with that money?
So Melissa's asking about what we're going to do now that we don't have a $23,000 a month mortgage payment and a $1,200 a month payment on that student loan that we were paying interest only on. So the answer is, if I go back a slide here, maybe. I don't know if it's going to let me go back. So I said that we had a net income of a loss of $246 million. By not having that mortgage payment of $23,000 over the course of 10 months, that would have been $230,000 that we wouldn't have as far as a loss. So by not having the mortgage payment, if we Our plan for a budget for 2023, 2024 is to basically replicate the expenses and the giving that we've had in 2022, 2023, and by not having that mortgage payment, we will be able to net zero instead of a loss. Was that clear? Okay. Anybody else have any other questions about expenses? All right. The last thing I want to touch on is our Piece is Worth It campaign. So we started this year with a goal of $150,000 from November to Easter. We raised $105,605. So that was down about 20.7% from 21-22. We're right now sitting at 70.4% of our goal, and there's 2 months remaining in the fiscal year. And we still have gifts coming in every week to Piece is Worth It. Just to recap, the plans for the 2023 year for Piece is Worth It included new financial freedom, so settling our debt by December 2023. We actually were able to do that via the land sale and instead of Piece is Worth It. New curriculum, so launching the Fresh Perspective conversation curriculum. So that's happened this year with the Fresh Perspective series and the conversation group and the work by the communications team to get that going forward. And then new growth, expansion of Partners in Hope, some new trips hopefully happening, new partners, and some expansion as far as the Partners in Hope Fund for partnerships and for programs outside of Crossroads Church. And then the other thing was the expansion of our Adventure Center, which we have seen this year in terms of the number of kids that we had enrolled, both in camps and in the daycare and preschool. All right, that was fun. Would you like me to make up some more numbers to talk about? Jeez. All right, so any other questions? Otherwise, we took 35 minutes of your time and said we were going to take 20, so if you don't have questions, I will release you to be able to go enjoy your weekend. Mr. Pyburn. So Greg's asking, since we sold the land, do we have, can we ease up on giving and generosity, and that the everything is copacetic now? And I want to go back to our revenue slide. I'm almost there. And this first slide, and if everybody, I can draw your attention to that second bullet point, which is regular giving. So you can see that even having a land sale, we still need regular giving, right? And we still have to budget for regular giving because we're not going to sell more land next year, right? There's not additional land to sell unless we decided we were going to look for another building somewhere, right? So that regular giving deficiency there of sorry, I'm not staring at it, of 12.5% under our budget, yeah, that not only means that we have to keep continuing at the rate that we were giving, but we need some new members. We need some influx of cash. We need to be as generous as we can. I don't believe that it's a generosity problem at Crossroads, and I want to be clear about that. Let's go back to that first slide, that Partners in Hope slide, and look at the over $80,000 that's being contributed to Partners in Hope. This is a generous congregation. There is no doubt in my mind that. But the membership of Crossroads, that's what that general fund is. That to upkeep of this building, to take care of our staff, to make sure that ministries happen, that falls on the general fund. That's not the Partners in Hope fund. That's not that special giving of Piece is Worth It. That's that general fund giving, and that's where I hope that when you consider yourself that this is your church and you decide to be a member at Crossroads, that you take giving to the general fund to be an important part of that process as a member. Did I answer your question, Greg? Okay. Anybody else? I can come up with something to say $1 billion if that would make everybody. All right. Well, thank you. Enjoy your week. Wow. I didn't think I'd get a clap for that. All right. Before you go, I'm auctioning off Ryan's phone. Can I hear $100? Can I get $100? $100. Anybody? $100. 100. All right. Good night. Oh, good afternoon.